Have you ever been at a party or a networking event surrounded by perfectly nice people? The music is good, the snacks are decent, and everyone seems to be having a great time. But you feel like you're slowly dying inside. Someone asks you, "So, how about this weather?" Or "Catch the game last night?" And physically, you smile. You nod. You say, "Oh yeah, crazy rain we're having." But mentally you feel a physical weight pressing down on your chest. You feel your battery draining, not drop by drop, but in a torrent. You look around and wonder, why is this so easy for everyone else? Why does this surface-level chatter feel like manual labor to me? And then the darker thought creeps in. Am I broken? Am I just arrogant? Why can't I just be normal? If you have ever felt that specific, aching loneliness, the feeling of being surrounded by people but totally unseen, this video is for you. We are going to talk about the loneliness of the profound. We aren't using that word to say you're better than anyone else. We're using it to describe a specific neurobiological need for depth. Today, we're going to uncover the psychology behind why small talk exhausts you, the biological reason your brain rejects surface-level interaction, and I'm going to give you 3 psychological tools to protect your energy without becoming a hermit. You aren't an alien. You're just built for the deep end. First, let's clear the air. There is a massive misconception that people who hate small talk are snobs. You might worry about this yourself. You think, who am I to think I'm too good to talk about the weather? But let's reframe that immediately. It is rarely about arrogance. It is about hunger. Imagine you haven't eaten in 3 days. You are starving, and someone hands you a single unflavored rice cake. You eat it, but it does nothing. Then they hand you another and another. You are chewing, you are swallowing, but you are not getting nourished. For a certain type of psychological profile, often those with high openness to experience on the Big 5 personality scale, or those with a high need for cognition, connection is nutrition. When you engage in small talk, you are performing the mechanical actions of socializing, the chewing, but you are not getting the dopamine hit of resonance, the nutrition. You aren't draining your battery because you are working hard to be polite.
You are draining your battery because you are running a high-performance engine on low-octane fuel. Your brain craves patterns, meaning, and abstract concepts. It wants to know why the person across from you is afraid of failure, not just what they do for a living. It wants to discuss the nature of consciousness, not just the traffic on the I-95. When that hunger isn't met, your brain enters a state of stress. We often call this boredom, but for the deep thinker, boredom is actually a stress response. It is painful. Let's get a little scientific for a moment. Why does this happen biologically? There are 2 main mechanisms at play here: cognitive load and the cost of inauthenticity. 1. The cognitive load of masking. For many deep thinkers, small talk requires a process called masking. You have to actively suppress your natural impulse to associate freely. If someone says, "Traffic was bad," your natural brain might want to jump to, "Urban planning is failing because we prioritize individualism over public transport," which reminds me of that book on Roman roads. But you have to slam the brakes on that thought train. You have to filter it down to, "Yeah, Mondays, right?" That braking action, that is an inhibition process in the brain. It consumes glucose. It takes high-level executive function to pretend to be simpler than you are. You are literally working overtime to appear casual. 2. The evolutionary mismatch. Evolutionarily, humans used grooming, picking bugs off each other, to bond. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar suggests that language evolved to replace physical grooming. Small talk, chatter, is essentially verbal grooming. It's not about information, it's about saying, "I am here, I am safe, we are the same." For most people, this verbal grooming releases oxytocin and lowers cortisol. It feels safe. But for you, you might have a higher threshold for what constitutes a safety signal. Mere chatter doesn't make you feel safe. Understanding makes you feel safe. Resonance makes you feel safe. So when you are stuck in small talk, the other person is getting an oxytocin hit, feeling bonded. Meanwhile, your brain is screaming, "We aren't connecting. This is noise, signal not found." You are socially starving while they are socially feasting. That is the loneliness of the profound. Now, I need to offer a warning, a caveat. Because this experience is so painful, many deep thinkers develop a defense mechanism. I call it the arrogance trap.
It starts like this. You try to connect, you fail. You feel drained. So to protect your ego, you decide, everyone else is shallow. They are sheep. I am the only one who gets it. This is dangerous. The moment you view others as shallow NPCs, non-player characters, you sever the possibility of connection entirely. You retreat into your ivory tower. And let me tell you, the view from the ivory tower is great, but it is freezing cold up there. The truth is, almost everyone has depth. Even the person talking about the weather has fears, dreams, and a philosophy on life. They just have a different entry code than you do. If you dismiss them because they don't open with a discussion on existentialism, you miss the chance to find the depth hiding beneath the surface. So, how do we survive this? How do we stop the energy leak without becoming a recluse? Here are 3 practical strategies you can use today. Tool 1. The deep dive pivot. You don't have to wait for someone else to make the conversation deep. You can steer the ship, but you have to do it gently. Do not ask a stranger, "What is your biggest regret?" right after hello. That's terrifying. Instead, use the meaning pivot. When someone asks a surface-level question, answer it, but tag a meaning onto the end. Them, crazy weather, huh? You, I know. Honestly, I love the rain. It makes me feel like I have permission to slow down and just think. Do you ever feel that guilt when you try to relax? Do you see what happened there? You acknowledged the weather, social grooming, but you pivoted to a human emotion, guilt, relaxation. You opened a door. If they say, no, I just hate getting wet. Okay, you tried. But 9 times out of 10, people want to be real. They are just waiting for permission. Be the one who gives them permission. Tool 2. Reframe small talk as the entryway. Stop expecting small talk to be the destination. It is the hallway. You cannot walk into a house without passing through the hallway. If you stand on the front lawn screaming, "Let me in the kitchen," people will call the police. Small talk is the trust-building phase. It allows the other person to verify you aren't crazy or dangerous. Instead of thinking, "This is a waste of time," tell yourself, "I am currently standing for safety."
I am walking through the hallway. This lowers your resistance. When you stop fighting the existence of small talk, it drains less of your energy. Tool 3. The time-boxed escape. If you are a highly sensitive person or an introvert, your battery is smaller. That is a biological fact. When you go to a social event, give yourself a time box. Tell yourself, "I will go for 45 minutes. I will try to have one meaningful interaction. Then I have full permission to leave." When you know there is an exit, the anxiety drops. You don't have to conserve energy for a 4-hour marathon. You can sprint for 45 minutes, be present, be charming, and then vanish before the fatigue toxins build up in your brain. I want to end with this. If you feel this loneliness, this gap between you and the world, it is not because you are flawed. It is because you are designed for a different function. In every tribe throughout human history, we needed the people who maintained the day-to-day, the people who talked about the harvest, the weather, the immediate dangers. But we also needed the shamans, the storytellers, the philosophers, the ones who sat by the fire and asked, "What do the stars mean? Why are we here?" You are that person. Your intolerance for the shallow is actually your capacity for the deep. The world needs people who are willing to dive into the complexity of the human experience. It is lonely down there sometimes. The deep ocean is darker than the surface, but it is also where the most beautiful bioluminescent things live. So protect your energy. Forgive yourself for getting tired, but please do not close your door. We need you to keep asking the big questions. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to know, what is one deep topic you wish you could talk about at parties without it being weird? Let me know in the comments. Let's turn the comment section into the dinner party we actually want to attend. If you want to learn more about how your personality type processes the world, I've linked a guide to the Big 5 personality traits in the description below. It's a game changer for understanding yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more psychology for the deep end. I'll see you in the next one. Keep thinking.